Hey folks, Dr. Bret Weinstein here, reporting out on the experiment that I've been running. For those of you who saw the video, I have a severe wheat allergy, and I've been told by many people that when they come to Europe, that their wheat allergy does not manifest itself no matter what they eat. I've always mistrusted that I would have the same experience because of the wide range of things that I turn out to be sensitive to, even some of them certified gluten-free, which makes me think that my allergy is to some molecule in wheat that probably isn't gluten. So it's now been something like 33 hours since I began the experiment yesterday. And I'll tell you, I didn't just have a little bit of wheat and see whether or not my symptoms came back. I've been eating without reference to whether or not there's wheat. I've had bread from a number of different sources. I've had some delicious pastries, which the Spaniards do very well. And I am actually utterly shocked by the result of this experiment. So far, I have experienced nothing that feels like a symptom. Now, that's a little bit subjective. One can always tune into your physiology, and if you're thinking very carefully about it, you may feel like you're having a twinge of something. But none of the symptoms that I'm used to when I get poisoned inadvertently in some American restaurant have shown up. I haven't had anything that feels like a symptom. So I don't know if that will last. It's possible that there's something about the initial exposure that it takes time for the immune system to ratchet up when it's faced with the antigen. But my guess at this point is that I'm probably experiencing what others have reported, that I simply don't react to wheat in Spain. Now, many people will think in response to that, it's probably something like the pesticides in American wheat.
Glyphosate is terrible for you.
I don't think this can be the case. I'm not saying the pesticides aren't part of what generates the allergies. My guess is that they have something to do with breaching the gut so that the immune system sees things that it's not supposed to see and becomes sensitive as a result of something like an adjuvant in a vaccine. But the wheat that I would be eating in the US would typically be organic, and I certainly react to it. So even if something like glyphosate were initially implicated in creating the allergy, at this point, my immune system sees wheat and it reacts. Now, there's one other possibility here, and I'm not sure what to do with it, except that it does suggest another experiment. I have been, as carefully as I can, avoiding things with wheat for something over a decade. I have also been experimenting with things like fasting. As regular viewers know, in recent times, Heather and I have been experimenting with dry fasting, and at one point we did a 7-day dry fast.
One of the things that we have understood from the research that we have found that extended dry fasting can do is possibly break dietary allergies. And so, and some of which are presumably at this point a result of vaccine injuries.
The purpose of these dry fasts is to prompt a kind of healing that can't happen when you are consuming things, healing in your gut being a primary mode of healing that we were trying to trigger. Have I done something that has changed the nature of my allergy? Well, in order to know, I will have to run this experiment back in the US where I am sensitive, or at least am sensitive as far as I know. I'm a little trepidatious about running that experiment, but at this point I do think I need to know whether or not my allergy has changed or it is the same experience others have reported where European wheat just simply doesn't function as a trigger. In any case, I know a lot of people were dying to know the result of this experiment. I will report back further if there's anything else to say if I start reacting to wheat, but for the moment I would say the evidence suggests that European wheat does not trigger me, which I've got to say feels almost like a superpower. What, I can eat a croissant? I mean, that's unthinkable to me back in the US, and yet here I am. So anyway, thanks for paying attention, and I'll let you know if anything changes.